Most people go through life on autopilot. They wake up, check their phone, and become lost in notifications. The chaos of the day takes over their energies. When you don't exercise your mind, it's weak. In today's environment of non-stop noise, distraction, and indulgence, weakness is the norm. There is, however, another way. The Stoics walked it. They thought that the mind could be sharpened like a knife, tamed like a wild horse, and made stronger like a muscle. The most powerful man in the world at the time, Marcus Aurelius, wrote to himself every night to stay grounded. Epictetus was born a slave, but he taught his mind to stay free even when it was in shackles. Seneca employed calm to get over fear and doubt, even though he was in the middle of the craziness of Roman politics. They didn't depend on incentive, they obeyed the law. Ways to keep your mind in order. Things that help them stay calm, strong, and focused, even while the world is on fire around them. Here are the 12 Stoic laws that will help you keep your mind in order. If you follow them, you won't be dominated by your impulses anymore. You will be in charge of yourself. Law number 1, govern yourself or be governed. No one is free who doesn't control himself. Epictetus. This is where everything starts. Discipline, strength, peace. You may rise while others fall and stay calm when things are crazy. It all starts with one rule: govern yourself or be governed, because someone will always be in charge of your life. If it's not you, it will be your appetites, your worry, your sloth, your surroundings, or the expectations of the world. The Stoics thought that was slavery. Epictetus was born a slave and was beaten by his lord, but he said he was freer than most emperors. Why? Because he was in charge of his own thinking. He taught himself not to be hurt by insults, not to be affected by praise, and not to be rattled by pain. He stated, "A man is not free unless he is in charge of himself." That's not a poem. That is a rule. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do next. When you self-govern, you are in charge of yourself. You don't need anyone else to urge you to stop scrolling, do your work, accept responsibility, or act with integrity. You are in charge of yourself. That's what makes disciplined men different from boys who are easily distracted. And it's not easy. The world is set up to make you not act. Look around. Every notification grabs your attention, and every algorithm looks for your weak spots. There are whole systems that work around the clock to control you. They don't use shackles anymore. They use addiction, affirmation, comfort, and ease. When you give in, you lose a vote. You're steadily giving up your power to something else. Marcus Aurelius knew this better than anybody else. He was the emperor of the most powerful empire in history, yet every day he reminded himself that the actual realm to control lay inside. He said in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not what happens outside of it." You will discover strength if you understand this. What does that mean in real life? It means you don't let emotions drive your decisions. You don't let what happened in the past affect what you do now. You don't let failure get in your way. You make the rules, and you stick to them, even when it's hard. To govern yourself means to make things work when others can't. You make your own mental constitution, which are rules you never breach, even when no one is watching. Do you get up early because it's hard? Do you train when you're tired? Do you just talk when it helps? That's self-governance. You do what needs to be done because it needs to be done, not because you want to. Musonius Rufus, a long-forgotten teacher, taught his students, "We don't let just anyone use our bodies, so we shouldn't let just anything shape our minds." When you read gossip, trends, or other worthless things, you're letting someone else think for you. Someone else is writing your lines. Someone else is in charge of your life. But you, if you're watching this, are not like most people. You want everything to be clear. You want to be in charge. You want to be in charge of yourself so that no one else has to be. That's where things start to make sense. This is the law you should remember. You can control yourself or be governed. And every day ask, who's in charge today? What are your principles or your instincts? What do you see or your peace of mind? The world will select for you if you don't. And what it chooses is servitude, comfortable, gradual, and unseen slavery. But what about the Stoic? He decides to be the boss. Even if no one sees it, even if no one applauds, no matter what it costs him. The only freedom that matters is the freedom to be in charge of your own life. Law number 2, prioritize order over feelings. Feelings aren't facts. They are like weather patterns, unpredictable, emotional bursts that come and go. The Stoics didn't ignore their feelings, they just didn't let them control them. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius told himself, "Today I will face interference, ingratitude, and rudeness." Not because he was cynical, but because he was ready. Order implies doing what makes sense even when your feelings tell you to do something else. Being Stoic doesn't mean not feeling anything. It's to feel and stay true to your beliefs. Your feelings want you to do something. Order wants you to do something. Emotion says, shout back, get away, give in, blame. Stop, says the order. Check, pick. That's where you get stronger. The disciplined mind lives in that interval between stimulus and response. Seneca once remarked, "No man is more unhappy than the man who never has to deal with problems, because he can't prove himself." It's acceptable to feel panic, anxiety, and rage when things go wrong, but those feelings shouldn't guide you. The Stoic does not let their emotions guide their actions. He does things based on principles, not feelings. Are you tired? Order still takes work. Are you offended? Order still requires calm. You have doubts? Order still needs to be acted on. Because feelings are genuine, but they aren't always true. What is true is what stays when the feeling goes away. Your highest self would choose the truth, not your weakest. Remember Epictetus. He stated, when something happens, the only thing you can control is how you feel about it. That's power. That's being disciplined. That's picking structure over giving up. A lot of individuals drown in their feelings because they mix them up with facts. They trust them, but believing is a decision, not emotion. Picture a soldier in the middle of a fight. He feels fear running through his veins. He runs if he hears it. But if he admits it and keeps going, that's order. That's an inside command. That's what Stoicism is. Feel your truth is what modern culture tells you. Do it. But you can't find the truth in your sentiments. You have to test it against them. A man who doesn't have order is a prisoner to his mood. A disciplined man has feelings, but he doesn't let them control him. He is in charge of them. Feelings are strong, much like wild horses, but they collapse without reins. With order, they transfer countries. The things you do, not the feelings you have, make your life what it is. You construct a life on sand every time you act on your feelings. When you act on principle, you build on stone. So when you get angry, ask yourself, what would my code require? When fear makes your chest tight, ask yourself, what would logic choose? When pleasure tries to pull you off path, remind yourself what is right, not what is easy. This law marks the line between the reactive and the refined. It's the difference between having no control and having control, between becoming a man and feeling like one. There must be order. Emotion can come and go, but it never leads. And if you're still here reading this, that tells me you want more than just to feel better. You're here to improve. Law number 3, never speak more than necessary. Silence is a lesson learned from all the pain in life. Seneca. Most individuals talk just to fill the space. Stoics talk to make things clear. The more you talk, the more energy you lose. The more you talk, the less clear you are. You lose control the more you talk. Words should help your thinking, not show it off. Seneca knew how much noise cost. He saw empires rise and fall and reputations established and broken, frequently by people who talked too much and didn't pay attention. He said, "It's a great thing to know when to talk and when to be quiet. Knowing when to be quiet gives you power, and even more strength in knowing why you don't need to." A mind that is disciplined doesn't have to protect itself all the time. It doesn't try to get people to like it. It doesn't ask to be understood. It talks with purpose, and the stillness between words is just as important. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor who was surrounded by politicians, generals, and people who wanted to please him. He could have talked for hours, but he often wrote to himself in meditations, quietly and on purpose, to tell himself, "Don't waste any more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't talk about good things. He did it. Do you want to get respect? Stop making yourself known. Let your deeds speak for themselves, and let your silence frame them. Because silence makes things more interesting. It adds weight. It makes people pay attention instead of ignore it. Men who are loud want attention. Men who don't talk want it. You don't have to talk to be seen. You don't have to explain things for others to get them. And you don't have to prove anything to folks who don't comprehend discipline. Only talk when it makes things clearer. Only speak when it serves the truth. Only talk when not talking would be wrong. Epictetus told his students that they should use their 2 ears and 1 mouth in that order. Listening is not something you do passively. It's a gun. It helps you in every room, every deal, and every connection. The more you talk, the more people can guess what you'll say next. You become more dangerous the more you listen. And don't think that being quiet means you're weak. In Stoicism, silence is a way to hold things in. It's pressure rising up behind silence. It's the sword still in the sheath, not because it can't be used, but because it doesn't need to be. That level of self-control? That's not common. That's strength. The world wants people to always comment. News, thoughts, responses. Speak now or be forgotten, it urges. But the Stoic says, "I'll talk when it matters, and when I do, you'll remember." So check your wording. Are they well behaved? Do you need them? Are they based on principles, or are they just noise? Don't talk more than you need to. Your silence might be your power. Let it bother those who need to be validated. Let it put space between you and people who chatter. Let it sharpen your thoughts like a knife. Because they'll listen when you do talk. And they will realize that this man doesn't waste words. Law number 4. Win the morning, win the mind. Marcus Aurelius didn't just get up. He had to fight to do so. In Meditations, he said, "You don't love yourself enough, or you would love your nature and what it asks of you." He was talking about that first moment of resistance, the bed's warmth, the weight of comfort, and the voice that urges just 5 more minutes. But the Stoic knows that being comfortable first thing in the morning will cause problems later. Law 4 isn't just about getting up early, it's about getting up in charge. The first hour of your day is when you either win or lose the battle for your thoughts. Before they even get up, most individuals give up. They grab their phones, look at their notifications, and eat before they even have time to think. That's not how a man who is disciplined starts. The Stoics saw the early dawn as a holy ritual. It wasn't a choice, it was a statement. I am in charge. When the world is quiet, what you do then will have an effect on every choice you make afterward. Epictetus stated, "If you want to get better, don't mind being seen as dumb and foolish." That means not paying attention to the world when you wake up. For an hour, Don't pay attention to the world. Read philosophy, breathe on purpose, and move your body. Write down what you want to do. Think on how you want to go through the day, not how the world wants to go through you. The spirit you build in the first few minutes, not the schedule you follow, gives you strength. You're not simply getting ready for the day, you're also shaping your character. Seneca told us how fast time goes by when we don't pay attention to it. He said, "People are careful with their personal property, but they waste the most time when they waste it." We give up our time in the morning, which is when most people steal it, to small changes, to worry, to things that get in the way. But every dawn you protect is a brick in the wall of mental order. Some days you will wake up exhausted. There are days when you don't want to do anything. Days when the bed feels like the safest place in the world. Good. That's the test. Just start. Start without the emotion. Discipline is when you start something without wanting to. That's being in charge of yourself. That shows that your mood no longer controls you, but your intention does. Make your morning easier. Strength comes from being simple. Take a deep breath in stillness. Get up and move, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Read something smart. Write down something clear. Think about who you don't want to be today and who you will be instead. No sound, no response, just having it. A weak man gets up late and serves his feelings. A man with self-control gets up early and lives by his values. If you win the morning, the world will go your way. If you lose it, the day owns you. So don't dispute when the alarm goes off tomorrow. Get up, take a breath, go. Think. Don't wait till you want to. Power starts before the mind agrees. Law number 5, practice voluntary discomfort. Musonius Rufus didn't only talk about philosophy, he lived it. He thought that ease didn't give you strength. Suffering, difficulty, and denial did. He taught his students to face what others were afraid of. He urged them to walk barefoot, sleep on the ground, and eat only what they needed. Why? The man who can choose to be uncomfortable can handle anything life throws at him without flinching. Comfort has become a religion in today's world. The mattress ought to be soft, the meal needs to be rich, the temperature has to be just right. And we break when it isn't. But the Stoic does the reverse. He chooses to be uncomfortable before life makes him. He isn't astonished when hard times arrive, since they usually do. He has already learned how to do it. Seneca said, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you will be happy with the simplest and cheapest food and the roughest and coarsest clothing, all the while asking yourself, is this the condition that I feared?" This wasn't just a thought experiment. He did it over and over. And by doing that, he got rid of dread. Because you don't own rock bottom anymore once you've chosen to taste it. Uncomfortable feelings become normal. Pain becomes easier to deal with. Your intellect is untouchable. One of the easiest ways to follow this law is to fast. Not for the body, but for the mind. Don't eat or don't do either. Let your stomach growl and know that you don't have to do anything. You won't die. You have the power. That's power. Or you could try sleeping without your favorite pillow, shower with cold water, a long walk with no interruptions, no earphones, nothing but quiet, just discomfort, chosen, not forced. And this is the most important part. Choosing to be uncomfortable. You get to choose. It's yours. You grow bigger than it. That's what makes the Stoic different from the victim. The victim whines when things become tough. The Stoic nods and says, "I've been waiting for this." Denying yourself things you can easily afford is really powerful. You remind yourself that you don't need these things every time you do. I can get by without. I can handle it. I can get through pain on my own. That's what freedom is. That is discipline. That is a mental state of order. Musonius realized that a guy who is concerned with comfort is not a man. He is a slave to comfort. And slaves can never control their thoughts. They can never tell them what to do. They will always do what makes them happy, but not you. If you follow this law, no, don't wait for life to make you stronger. Begin today. Don't eat something you really want. Deliberately take comfort out of your day. To create a strong will, you have to give up tiny pleasures, because life will take something from you one day. And when it does, you will be ready. Law number 6. Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus taught his students that the first thing the mind can do to be free is to be able to tell the difference between what is yours and what isn't. To be happy and free, you need to understand one thing. Some things are in our control, and some things are not. This is where it all begins. Most men live in turmoil because they employ their strength where they don't have any. They get angry at the world, worry about what will happen, try to control people, and resist things that have already happened. And in the process, they lose who they are. The Stoic, on the other hand, makes a clear and unbreakable line. I command what is mine. I let go of what isn't. This isn't being lazy, it's being in charge. The man who just thinks about what he can control makes things orderly inside. He quits wasting energy on noise that doesn't matter. He leaves the storm and enters a calm place. His choices get clearer, his motions were sharper, his spirit was harder to break. Marcus Aurelius had to deal with battle, betrayal, illness, and death. But he kept coming back to this one idea. He told himself, you have control over your mind, not events outside of it. You will discover strength if you understand this. This quote didn't make me feel better. It told me what to do. He knew that the chaos outside would never end. But what did he do about it? That was his. All the time. So how does this work in real life? You can't make people like you. But you may choose how openly and honestly you talk. You can't change the market, the economy, or the results, but you can control how hard you work, how you prepare, and how you think. You can't change the past, what was said, done, or lost, but you can choose what to do next. Noise is everything outside. Everything inside is a decision. This law slices through worry like a knife. When you feel like you can't handle it, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, let it go like a weight you were never meant to carry. If the answer is yes, then you should do what you need to do with all the strength and discipline you have. Seneca warned about the man who defies fate. He remarked, "A wise man is happy with what he has, no matter what it is, and doesn't want what he doesn't have." That doesn't mean you shouldn't try hard. It just means you shouldn't be upset about things you weren't supposed to be good at. Letting go gives you freedom. You don't get real strength from managing everything. You get it from focusing on the few things that are really yours. What you think, what you do, your answers, your discipline. That is the main part of mental order. That's the area where things flourish. And what about everything else? Not important. This law is not a one-time thing. It needs to be done every day, every hour. When your emotions are high, when things seem unfair, or when you want to spiral. Stop, please ask, make a choice, do something if you can. Let go if you can't control it. No whining, don't blame anyone, no drama with feelings. Law number 7. Think in years, act in days. The Stoics knew that real mastery doesn't happen in a flash, but over the course of years. Marcus Aurelius didn't write in a notebook to get praise or fast affirmation. He created meditations as a way to shape his soul for the rest of his life. Discipline is a long-term goal, not a short-term goal. This law is the way of thinking that will help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. Most people who want quick results give up depth for quickness. which means they plant shallow roots that die in the first storm. The Stoic plants deep, understanding that it will take a long time to grow, but it will last. This kind of thinking encourages patience, not inactivity. It needs a long-term view, one that goes beyond today, the next month, and even the next 10 years. But that doesn't mean you should ignore the present. Balance is what Law 7 is about. Plan for the long term, but move quickly. Take a step back and look at your life as a whole. The big picture, the novel you're authoring. Let that vision give you a reason to live, a reason to be passionate, and a reason to stay strong when things go wrong. Then zoom back out. Only think about the next step and the task at hand. No being too busy. No paralysis. Just action. Steady, planned, and based on facts. Seneca said, "It's not that we don't have a lot of time to live, it's that we waste a lot of it." But wasting time doesn't mean going too fast. It means losing sight of what's really important. The disciplined man realizes this and keeps his eyes on the future while staying in the present. Your objective should be so big that it scares you. It should be the kind of goal that pushes you to grow and go beyond your bounds. But what are you going to do next? That should be easy to do right now. Write a single sentence. Call once. Take a deep breath and begin. This manner you keep going without getting tired. You respect how slowly change happens, yet you celebrate every day as a win. Plan your campaign like a general would. Walk like a soldier, one step at a time. Don't forget that Rome wasn't constructed in a day, but a stone was laid every day. What stone will you put down today? Law number 8. Destroy the need for approval. Epictetus said something hard to hear. If you want to get better, be okay with people thinking you're dumb. Wanting to be liked is like being in a silent jail. It ties your thoughts, actions, and even who you are to what other people think. When you want praise or are afraid of criticism, you give up control of your mind to outside influences. This is the reverse of discipline and mental order. The Stoic doesn't live to make people happy or have fun. He wants to grow. He knows that people who don't really know you often spend approval like money. It is not trustworthy or predictable. People will think you're not serious, make fun of you for being alone, and doubt your discipline. But that's their problem, not yours. Seneca said, "The mind has the power to be unconquerable." And that power is gone as soon as you rely on other people to tell you how valuable you are. You need to break free from the bonds of acceptance and take charge of your own life in order to get your mind in order. This doesn't mean disregarding input or being cold and distant. It involves deciding what affects your spirit. When you do things from this place, your actions speak louder than words. Your calmness, your consistency, and your inner strength all speak for themselves. You don't have to explain, defend, or justify your journey. What you really need is your own approval. Marcus Aurelius had to deal with this himself. He told himself every day that he should focus on his own virtue and reason, not on what other people said or did. He said, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is wrong, I will gladly change, but only when it was true and not just to be popular." Radically freeing yourself from the need for acceptance is a drastic act. It clears your thoughts so you can focus, do the right thing, and deal with the loneliness that comes with being great. It gets you ready for the times when you'll have to stand alone, even when the throng is there. You weren't born to fit in or entertain. You were born to grow and to lead yourself with strong discipline. Law number 9. Ritualize your self-checks. The best Stoics were always looking at themselves critically. Seneca's writings weren't only philosophical. They were like nightly checks on his soul. Cato the Younger, who was noted for his honesty, was quite hard on himself every night. Marcus Aurelius kept a close eye on his ideas and deeds to make sure they were in line with reason, even in the midst of the empire's instability. They realized one simple truth: discipline doesn't evolve by itself. It expands when you think about it honestly. Law 9 says that self-checks should be a holy ritual. You can't make things better if you don't look at them. If you don't examine your work on a frequent basis, your mind will drift like a ship without a rudder, carried away by distractions, emotions, and outside chaos. But by doing a regular self-check, you develop a mental compass that directs you back to your true north every day. This isn't about being hard on yourself or feeling guilty. It's about being clear. At the end of the day, take a time to ask yourself, was I rational today? Did I use my time well, or did I allow minutes go by without noticing? Did I live up to my principles, or did I betray them in little ways? Did I think about what I said? Was I paying attention? These questions aren't meant to penalize you, they're meant to help you. Writing in a journal is one of the most useful things you can do here. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and deeds makes you face the truth about your life. It changes quick thoughts into real ideas. It helps you keep track of your progress, see patterns, and change your course before negative habits become ingrained. Seneca stated, "Every new beginning comes from the end of another beginning." At the end of the day, you may start over. You can clear your thoughts, strengthen your willpower, and recommit to your values. This ritual creates lasting discipline because it makes improvement easy to see and constant. You become an artisan of your own mind, carefully and patiently shaping it. Every time you check yourself, you lay a stone in the foundation of mental order. Don't let this routine break. Respect your self-review as a demand that you can't ignore, whether it's 5 minutes before bed or a moment in the morning. The results will build up slowly but surely. Your intellect will be sharper, your behaviors will be cleaner, and your life will be more in line. Law number 10. Feed your mind deliberately. You don't get mental strength from luck or willpower alone. You build it up by what you feed your mind on a regular basis. Your mind grows what you put in it, just like a garden. If you plant weeds of negativity, distraction, and shallow noise, they will take root and choke away your attention and clarity. But if you plant seeds of truth, discipline, and wisdom, you will get back strength, peace, and mental order. Seneca said, "We should hunt out the helpful pieces of teaching and store them in our minds like a treasury." This is in line with this idea. This treasury isn't just a collection. It's an active armory that will help you fight the wars of life. Deliberately feeding your mind requires being careful about what you eat and drink. We are bombarded with unending streams of news from the world, social media feeds, gossip, spectacular headlines, and constant entertainment that is meant to get our attention, but usually doesn't help us in any way. People nowadays are starving for depth because they are ingesting too much noise. The Stoics knew that your thoughts influence your reality. Thus, they were very careful about what they thought about. Marcus Aurelius, one of the best Stoic emperors, didn't just happen to become wise. He thought about philosophy every morning and night to remind himself of the qualities and principles that defined his rule and his soul. He read a lot of other people's writing and meditated a lot to strengthen his self-control. Epictetus was once a slave, but he turned his hard life into a fortress of mental freedom by studying and thinking about Stoic ideas very hard. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus's instructor, lived simply and taught his students not only how to deal with problems, but also how to make their wits sharper by accepting the hard truths of life. To feed your thoughts on purpose is to do what they did. This involves practicing every day by reading philosophy, biographies of great men and women who lived through harsh times and came out stronger, and timeless advice from philosophers who had to deal with much greater problems. Don't think of this as something you do all the time or as background noise. Think of it like a warrior getting ready for combat. Get completely involved. Read a lot. Think carefully. Let what they teach you change the way you see yourself and the world. When you start to lose focus, get lazy, or doubt yourself, go back to these sources. When you start to lose your determination, read Marcus's Meditations again. When your feelings start to take over, read Epictetus's Enchiridion again. When comfort makes you want to give in, remember Musonius's advice on how to be strong. This planned feeding sharpens your mind, makes your inner fortress stronger, and gives you an unshakable base for discipline. Keep in mind that your mind is your most valuable possession. If you don't take care of it, it will betray you. If you don't give it knowledge, you open yourself up to turmoil, rashness, and bewilderment. But if you feed it truth and philosophy, you will grow a mind that is clear, orderly, and powerful. One that commands instead of obeys. You don't have to be a philosopher or academic to follow this law. Begin with tiny things. Choose one strong text. Every day, read a few pages. Write down what you learn. Put your thoughts to the test. Doubt what you think you know. Let the knowledge you give your mind change you, minute by moment, day by day. If you feed your mind on purpose, it will become a mind that leads, not follows. A mind that conquers, not flees. Law number 11, isolate to reclaim your edge. The world is always loud, busy, and on. Notifications, views, news, and entertainment, there are always fresh things coming at you that you need to pay attention to. And most people never stop to think about what all this noise is doing to their minds. The Stoics were aware. They knew something that current culture has forgotten. Being alone doesn't mean you're weak. It's not being alone. It is strength. Musonius Rufus, the long-forgotten father of Roman Stoicism and Epictetus's instructor, stated that one of the most important things to do to gain control over oneself was to spend time alone. Be around people who will make you better, he added. If there weren't any around, he told his students to be alone and reflect, to fight with their thoughts in quiet. He thought that the only way to find out the truth about yourself and improve your morals was to intentionally pull away from others. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of an empire, but he still found time to think deeply and contemplate. He often wrote his most honest thoughts in perfect seclusion. Epictetus said that we should be able to step back from the tumult of life and think about our decisions, not in front of a crowd, but in silence. But what about today? People are afraid of being alone. They are afraid of being alone with their thoughts. They are terrified of the silence because it might tell them something they aren't ready to hear, so they fill every moment with music, podcasts, and scrolling. This is exactly why you need to be alone. To get back your edge, the sharp clarity and focus that the Stoics had, you need to step back from the cacophony. Law 11 says you have to isolate on purpose, not as a way to get away, but as a plan. Take an hour, or even better, a day. Unplug entirely. No phone, no music, no talking, just a thought. Just breathe, just being there. Take a lengthy walk without any distractions. Take a seat with a blank journal and write down everything that comes to mind. Look at the trees, the sky, and the questions you've been putting off. This is how to clear your head. Being alone helps you get your instincts back on track. It takes away what other people believe and feel, as well as trends and diversions, and shows you what you really think and feel. It makes things clear again. It teaches you to be present. And when you return to the world, you don't come back gentler. You come back sharper, harsher, more deliberate, because your thoughts are suddenly your own again. Being alone is a weapon, a thing to use, a ceremony. Before he fights in the arena, the warrior practices by himself. You have to do the same thing. Make this law part of your week. Take care of your quiet time like your life depends on it, because it does. In a world that wants your attention, getting it back is a big deal. Law number 12. Accept everything, expect nothing. This is the law that makes soldiers into philosophers and philosophers into legends. The last and most important Stoic precept is amor fati, which means love your fate. Don't put up with it. Don't be angry about it. I love it. To accept the curveballs, the chaos, the cruelty, and still say good. Because every hit makes your form stronger. Every setback makes you more focused. Seneca, who had to deal with exile, losing his money, and the unpredictable anger of emperors, wrote, "A good character, when established, becomes the rule of life." But that character isn't built in comfort. It is shaped by hard times. You can't get that kind of inner order if you keep complaining about how things should have gone. That's your ego talking. That is the mind trapped by false hopes. A Stoic has none. A Stoic gets ready for hard times. A Stoic welcomes the storm with open arms. Marcus Aurelius buried 8 of his children, governed during war and plague, and still stated to love only what happens, what was meant to happen. No more harmony. That is not accepting things passively. That is the strong embracing of reality, not wasting a single drop of energy on regret, entitlement, or complaint. Because fighting against life is a waste of it. But if you totally accept life without flinching, you will be unbreakable. Most people won't want to hear this, but life doesn't owe you a fair fight. People will let you down, plans will go apart, death will come. You don't have to stay away from the fire, you have to walk right into it. You will never be surprised if you don't expect anything. Nothing can disturb your peace when you accept everything. You need to change the way your mind works so that you respond instead of react. Smile if you win. Smile even more if you lose. Peace is your reward if people forget your name. Let the world try to break you if it wants to. Give it something that can't be broken. This is the best Stoic work, not because it's poetry, but because it can't be shaken. Love fate. Accept your fate. Use every bad thing that happens to you as fuel. Like a soldier accepts war, accept truth without complaint, fantasy, or retreat. And this way of thinking sets you free. This last law is what makes everything else work. You will keep living in fantasy if you can't face the truth. But what happens after that? You become disciplined not because you have to, but because it fits with how life works. So keep this in mind. Take care of yourself. Make order a priority. Talk less. Win the day. Discomfort while training. Take charge of what you can. Think about the years. Stop approval. Think about things every day. Give your mind food. Take care of your alone time. And most importantly, accept everything and expect nothing. These are the 12 rules for keeping your mind in order. Not thoughts, no quotations. Rules. Learn them by heart. Use them. If you break them, you break your mind. Now you can go. Be disciplined in your life. Stay dangerous. Be free. Once the mind is in order, it can't be beaten. You don't react anymore, you respond. You don't hunt anymore, you build. You don't fear anymore, you focus. These 12 Stoic laws are not just ideas, they are tools. If you practice them, your feelings will give in, your distractions will go away, and your discipline will happen on its own. You don't need to be motivated, you need rules, you need to be in charge. Your excuses aren't strong enough, you need a system that is. You simply got that system. Now use it, without mercy, over and over, without stopping. Stay on task, stay strong, stay calm.